welcome to the QX Financial YouTube channel. I'm Turill Engelman, and we're very excited to share this new video with you guys today. My guest for this series is Michelle La Paglia. Michelle is an expert in the property and casualty insurance world, which plays a very important role in your financial household and well-being. Many of you might have no idea what property and casualty is. That is kind of our goal today, is to have and introduce you to Michelle and show you why you should understand and have someone like her in your life. We don't always have to pay attention to the advice given, but we want to let you know that no money is made. We're not paying anybody to come on and express their opinions on this channel. It's strictly informational for you guys. And in return, we would love for you to like, comment, maybe share these videos if you find them valuable with others. And we would love to sit down and help you out if you wanted to have a further discussion. With that being said, we'd love to go further and introduce Michelle La Paglia and why P&C is a very important part of your financial foundation.
Thanks, Turill. It's good, nice to be talking to you today. So I'm with Goosehead Insurance, and Goosehead, it doesn't have very much name recognition at all, especially in California. That's because even though most of our fun, entertaining ads on TV come from the big insurance companies advertising at sporting events and Super Bowl, we don't do any advertising like that. We strictly work with referral partners, professional mortgage brokers and realtors.
I'm glad you said, because, you know, as you're building on that, like Goosehead, you know, we don't spend a lot of money on advertisement. And a lot of times people think because they haven't heard of you, it might not be the best thing for them. But as we like to share with our clients, and I'm sure you do too, the reason you don't hear of us because instead of charging you more money, we save our clients money instead of using these big buildings for advertisement or these Super Bowl commercials, as you're alluding to.
Right, exactly. And Goosehead is actually one of the largest independent insurance brokerages in the country and is growing really fast. But we're more high touch, high service. The way that my clients are referred to me is from a mortgage broker or a realtor while they're buying a home or doing a refinance. And yeah, it's a relationship based approach rather than just, you know, how much for insurance, because asking how much for insurance is like saying how much does it cost to buy a house. There are so many variables and there's so many different options and coverages. You know, we really partner with our clients and our referral partners to take good care of people and make sure they're making informed decisions and protecting their assets.
That's very, very awesome. I mean, that's very important these days and age, and with, you know, us being in this information overload kind of era. One of the reasons we make these videos is, you know, we have so much information out there, but it's finding, I think, the right information that comes along with not a backline or someone getting paid to do it. So what would you say you think is some of the most important values or concepts that you share with your clients that they don't know about the P&C world?
Well, P&C, to start with, the sort of bread and butter of insurance, the main lines are home, auto, umbrella, you know, and renters, and then there's the extras like earthquake and flood, and, you know, there's and life insurance, of course. You know, there are a lot of things to protect your life and your family and your assets. And if you just want to jump online and quote yourself auto insurance or especially home insurance, there are so many line items and options. And even a lot of agents out there, you know, they just think people want the lowest price, which of course we all want the best price for the best coverage. But if you just get the lowest price and then something happens at your house and you ring your agent and you say, oh, this has happened, is that covered? Oh, sorry, you don't have that coverage. That's not covered in your insurance. Why not? Well, you don't have service line coverage that, you know, which you could have had for $12 a year, but nobody told you about it. And you're like, oh, if I knew that existed, I would have had that. And, you know, it's just, you want to choose the best protection and your insurance strategy.
No, I'm glad you bring that up, because we're definitely in the era with the internet. People can just go online and shop anything. So, you know, I'm sure you get this a lot. I get this a lot. Hey, can you just send me some prices? Hey, can you just send me a brochure? And,
right.
And it alludes to what you're saying is, well, the problem is what is best and what is cheapest don't always align. or what is best or what is cheapest not be what's best for you. And that's kind of what we are here to find out, what kind of tailors each person's specific needs and wants and concerns. And that's, I think, where you and I come in to really help these people understand what's best for them.
Right. And just like with financial investing, I know you guys have risk tolerance, like 1 to 5, conservative or aggressive. Just like that in insurance, you can have strategies like, I just want to pay the least. I don't think I'm ever going to use it. I've got
Right.
I either can't afford it, I need it because I can't afford it, I need to get this loan closed, or I've got enough money to cover minor losses. I just want to protect myself against the biggest things. Or, so I'd rather pay more. I want to be maximally insured for anything that can happen, or I want to pay the least. Or most people are somewhere in the middle where it's like, I just want good solid coverage at the best rate that I can find. And then you go through some of the options and line items and you decide, is that important to me or not?
Okay, no, that's fair. I guess my one of my follow-up questions on that would be for the people watching. If they are new to this world, they have no understanding, and they're kind of watching our video to get a basic concept of what we do and how we help. What would you say the top 3 things they would need to look at or do in regard to their PMC needs?
Well, I don't know, should we deep dive into the individual lines like auto, or just a brief overview of auto, home, and umbrella?
I would say a brief overview for now. We could always dive in on a specific video later, but just maybe the top 3 overall in the big umbrella picture scheme of things you feel is most important.
Well, speaking of umbrella, that's sort of jumping to the end bit fast. There is something called an umbrella policy, which a lot of people haven't heard of. And that gives you $1 million or more. You can choose 2, 5, 10, but entry level is kind of $1 million more liability coverage on both your home and your auto insurance. And liability is such a big issue because if you have an accident and you're at fault, or if something happens to someone at your home, this is where people sue you. And I mean, we've all heard crazy stories about, people being sued and crazy lawsuits. But
Stories.
yeah, it's just bananas. And in my business, we see more. I've got some really fun stories, actually. It's just bananas. But yeah, you want to protect yourself and your assets so that if something does happen, and it's very inexpensive, it can be as little as $300 a year for $1 million. And I make sure all of my clients know about it. And, $300, there's nothing in it for me, but there's everything in it for the client. And I just think it's one of the most important things. So yeah, and if you just ring like the 1-800 whoever, I won't use any company names, and just get a blind quote, for the most part, if you're a homeowner, they're gonna put you in a box according to the conversation. And if you're a homeowner and you haven't asked for anything more, they're gonna give you 100, 300 limits on your auto insurance. And then they don't even explain what the options are. And to have an umbrella policy, you need to have a bare minimum of 250, 500. And some people just will ring and they'll just get, yeah, I just want what I have to have. What you have to have in California is 1535. Do you want me to give you a really brief overview of what that means, what those numbers mean? Okay, so 1535, which are the state minimum limits, means if you're in an accident and you're at fault, you are covered. If you injure someone, they're covered up to $15,000 per person, up to $30,000 per incident, and $5,000 for property damage. So $15,000 is nothing for a medical injury. If you're in a bad accident, your bills can be through the roof. And $5,000 for property damage, you're in a 2-car pileup with a Mercedes and a Rolls Royce, or even just any car. It's not hard to do $5,000 worth of damage. So if it's more than that, you're on the hook. Personally, they can go after your assets, your wages. So, you want to have good coverage. So, if you ring the 1-800, hello, can I have good car insurance? They're going to give you 100, 300. That's 100,000 per person, 300 per incident, 100,000 property. But, if someone explained to you, my thing these days is these electric scooters that are everywhere. I mean, I've seen with my own eyes, this poor woman get cleaned up, fly through the air. And my first thought was, oh my God, that's a big claim. I mean, I felt bad for her, and that's a claim that she deserves. That person needs to be able to pay for her medical expenses. But if she
Right.
gets herself one of the personal injury attorneys and they really go after you, that's when your claims can really get into the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And that's where your umbrella policy kicks in to protect you.
Those scooters are scary. You can't hear
They're
them.
so scary. They're
You
so
can't-
scary.
Yeah. I was, another story for another day, but I was across the pond and in England, right, and in London, and they're all over the place right there. So I was like, wow, this is more than California. I can't believe it. They're in the street, they're zipping all around. And people are like, the little taxi guy was like, yeah, it's hard because you don't hear them. So if you don't see them, you're screwed.
Yeah. It's scary. Yeah, that's my biggest pushing point for umbrellas, or biggest illustration of why it would be good.
No, I appreciate it. And I think you also hit on something very important that most people forget about in this, let me click and get the cheapest price. You said earlier that, this is going to be $300. It's not a lot of money, but the quality and value you're providing for nothing in our pockets sometimes is what the consumer doesn't understand. You'll make a transaction where you're not making anything. I mean, okay, you'll make a couple bucks, but in the scheme of things, you're not making any money, right? And this similar thing, there's certain things will help and push onto a client and make less money for their benefit. But if they don't sit down and, obviously we'd have to dive into the weeds for them to understand that. But sometimes we go out of our way to help them have better value or better protection without them understanding it. And I think that's why it's also important to talk about why, having a frontal conversation with someone is still important in this day and age. You can find a lot online, but there comes a point where you have to sit down and talk to somebody to truly get the value and understand what's best for you.
Yeah, and that's also one of the reasons that it's good to go with a broker. I mean, there are a lot of great standalone big insurance companies out there that are, I will say State Farm just because it's so big and well known. It's a great company, and it performs really well and takes care of its clients well. But, they have one product to sell. So if you just go and ask them for a quote for home and auto, especially home, it depends. And this is not disparaging against them because, any of the companies, it's just, and different carriers provide better value in certain zip codes or for certain risks. Some carriers won't take a flat roof. Some carriers won't insure you in this zip code. There's all sorts of different things. So if you go to a broker, they can shop the market and find the best carrier for you and the best carrier for your individual circumstances.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more, Michelle. I love where you're going with that. And I think that can be a discussion we can maybe dive into another day,
Okay.
what we for the clients and where you live, all these different jurisdictions, right? The indicators, the little factors that they might not think of. So I want to thank you again for your time and joining us on this video and sharing with us some of those very amazing gems of why people should get protection and some of the benefits of talking to someone such as yourself. So thank you again, and I look forward to diving into some more discussion on how we help people.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.